Hey friends and book lovers, welcome back. Today I'm doing a video that I haven't done before. I've always felt a little intimidated to do these bookish gift ideas just because I don't know if other book lovers like what I like in terms of bookish ideas, so I have always been really hesitant. But getting to know a bunch of book lovers over the last year and a half, I feel like I have really come to know maybe what in general we would probably like, and I will also have at the end some guaranteed things that you can't really even miss with. These are things that every book lover, no matter age, no matter gender, no matter country, no matter what, will all really enjoy and love. And then I think some of them are going to be more geared towards certain people, and some of them might be geared to other people depending on taste and preference. So you definitely have to know your book lover or your friend to kind of give a good gift, but there are some gifts that I'll put out in the end that are just going to be guaranteed hits, so stay tuned. The first thing I'm going to go over is clothing. There's been, at least in my view, a big kind of boom in bookish clothing. I've seen it everywhere. I've seen everything from screen print designs to embroideries to things that are really unique and beautifully done. A lot of these are just small shops or Etsy shops, so there's a really good chance that you can find a shop like this on Etsy. I myself really like the shop called Enchanted Oddities, and I'll link everything down below, all the shops I'm talking about. She has her own website. I think she's located in Montreal, which is in Canada, for those of you that don't know, and she embroiders everything. I think she has a sewing machine and it embroiders, and it's just beautiful, and I just feel like those items are really long lasting because they're embroidered. Obviously it makes them pricey, but they're really beautiful and they come in small batches. Right now I just looked, she's sold out of everything that I would want to buy, but hopefully when a couple things come back into stock I will probably be buying them for myself. But I just really love her stock, and she also has other smaller accessories like some jewelry, some stickers, bookmarks, and things like that if you wanted to add anything to your order. So I really enjoy her. There's one shop on Etsy that I've ordered from before, and it's called the Dear Writer Co., and I'll link her shop down below. I had her customize a sweater that I really wanted, just a crew neck. She just does kind of the screen printing, but I washed the sweater a couple times, actually more than a couple times, like 4 or 5. I put it in the dryer and I've not gotten any cracking, so it's pretty good quality in my opinion. I have also gotten a couple t-shirts from her, and I think I've gotten gifts from friends from that store, and everything's been really great. Obviously certain stores pander to certain fandoms more. These pander kind of more towards Equitar and the more popular fandoms, but I think that a lot of these smaller shops, especially the ones on Etsy, could definitely do a customized order for a fandom that isn't on their shop currently. I wouldn't be afraid to ask if you know your book lover or if you yourself just want to order something. So really love Enchanted Oddities and also Dear Writer Co. on Etsy. Those are just some examples. I was also browsing the other day and I found a scarf that's inspired by Pride and Prejudice, and it's the letter that Darcy writes to Elizabeth, and it's just all printed on this scarf. It's absolutely beautiful. I love the movie. I have yet to read the actual book. I think I read half of it and then I stopped. That was way back in the day. However, I am planning on getting into more of Jane Austen's written work in the future. I have a whole volume of her works, but this is just Darcy's letter written to Elizabeth, and it is just a freaking cool scarf. So if you have any Jane Austen or classics lovers in your family or friend circle, this is definitely a really cool and unique item to get, and I'll link that down below. Hopefully by the time this goes up it won't have sold out. And then again, just in general, bookish clothing is really fun, so anything that you find, I've given some ideas just because those are kind of my favorites or things that I found really interesting, but anything that you can find on Etsy I would say is the best thing. I haven't really looked at bigger retailers like Amazon for things like this. I'm sure that they would have, but I really do love supporting smaller shops, so I'll usually go to an Etsy store and order from them. A lot of the times they can do things quickly. I don't know if because the holidays are coming up if things are delayed, but at least if it's kind of more of a local in your country, small shop might be easier to get the goods. And just branching off of like cozy clothing and sweaters, I also just have in general cozy gifts. So one of them would be blankets. I have a bunch of Bookish cozy blankets that I love. This one I actually got in an L Crate box, but just as an example of like a really cool Bookish blanket that you could get for someone. I'm sure you can find something similar like this on Etsy. Actually reminds me of the scarf that I was just talking about, but this is a small blanket. If I find something similar to this on Etsy, I'll link it down below so you guys can have examples of what that would be like. But honestly, this would go great with any book lover. It's a really cute accessory just to throw over a couch or a big chair, and also it doesn't really matter what it says. This one I think is Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, and it just kind of has the raven and a bunch of his writing on here, but I don't really care. I love it because it's just bookish looking and it's really fun. The next thing, which is really similar to blankets, are blanket hoodies, basically Snuggies, but they've kind of gotten a glow up since the Snuggie first came out. You can find some really amazing fleecy blanket hoodies with a hood, obviously, and like a pouch and just like general coziness to just snuggle up in one huge long blanket that you just wear all over the house, and a book and whatever, and it's probably one of the best things you could do on a cozy lazy day. So I really think that those are super handy for someone that you know that likes to laze around and lounge around the house and be totally completely comfortable. And I think it's super easy for like men and women to both wear it. It's a good time. And then going off of that cozy vibe, when I'm in like my blanket reading my book, I love to have like tea or coffee with me. It's harder for me to eat things when I'm reading, especially reading a physical book, because I always stain it with my like fingers or whatever it's on the snack that I'm having. So tea and coffee is always a really good thing to get. Any book lover, we all drink tea or coffee. I don't know anyone that reads books that doesn't drink either tea or coffee. Tea is probably the safer choice, but if you know that they only love coffee, then you can go with coffee. But luxurious tea sets are really easy to find, especially on the holiday season. They always come in like these holiday gift packs, so that's like a super easy present and something that you can find not even in a bookish shop, but just in a regular shop around town, especially if you need to pick it up like last minute. And then of course, when you're having your tea in your blanket, reading a book, I love a good candle. I don't know anyone that doesn't love a good candle when they're reading. A lot of my friends and I give each other candles, especially the reader bookish friends of mine, and then just in general, other friends of mine and I just give each other candles because it's really fun. I've gotten some really awesome candles. I've gotten candles that look like a witch's cauldron. I got one for my birthday. I don't remember exactly who that shop was, but I'll link them down below. They are also a small local shop, I think in the southern United States, so I will link them. Those cauldron candles are super cool. There's also a couple of shops on Etsy that I really like. There's Briarwick, which I think actually does a lot of candles that go into book boxes, and they do it by the fandom as well. I found one earlier this weekend. It's actually called Frostbeard, and it's more open-ended, but it still kind of sticks to some fandoms, and there's like I think a handful of candles on there right now, and they just looked super fun. They're soy candles, and I think soy definitely burns longer and it's better just for the environment as well. I think, don't quote me on that, but that's like what it's marketed as, so if I'm wrong, definitely feel free to let me know in the comments down below. But they're soy candles and they just seem really cool and cute, and that's also a shop in the US on Etsy. And I think if you just look up bookish candles on Etsy, you'll find a ton more shops, but those are the two that I found that seem really cool. And I know that Briarwick, or I'm pretty sure that Briarwick does do stuff for book boxes because all their labels look very familiar to me. There's also kind of the big box retail stores. You can go to just like Target or Bath & Body Works and get a regular candle. Everyone loves those. They're always fun. But if you want to specifically target a fandom or like a funny quote that comes out of a fandom, definitely look at some Etsy shops that custom make candles like that, because I don't know who wouldn't want that. Or if you have like a fantasy book reader like myself that like loves witches and all that kind of stuff, I think a cauldron candle is perfect. Super perfect. This next thing is a little harder, but if you know your book lover really well, it could be amazing. I have myself gotten into fan art recently, and I've bought pieces of fan art just because I want to support the artist, and it's just super fun. It's fun to like know what your characters in your books look like or what someone else's rendition is. It can be really helpful that way. Some people really don't like this, people really do, but I think if you know someone, they have a favorite fandom, favorite characters, getting them character art from a really cool artist or just a really good artist or a local artist that you know of, it's really, really, really great. Some of my favorites are Talia Noble. She does a lot of cool art. She does a lot of different kind of adult art, and I really love her style. There's also Merwild, who does a lot of work with book boxes. Talia Noble has also started to do that, but I had discovered her a little bit before she started those collaborations, but those two are some amazing ones. And then A Touch of Magic shop does collabs with a lot of different artists, so it's not just one artist, they feature a lot of different ones. So that's also a good way to discover new artists or to pick from multiple types of fandoms, because they have a fandom for everything, I think. Obviously it's easier to find the more popular hyped fandoms, but you could definitely get like a piece customized if you wanted to go there and think it's like a really cool, unique piece to give someone for Christmas, maybe something that they wouldn't necessarily splurge on themselves. So I think that fan art is like a really great way to give someone a gift without giving them just a book, which, don't get me wrong, we all love books. That's the best gift to give a book lover. But if you wanted to give something different, fan art is a really good way, especially if you know your book lover or book friend really well. That could be a good thing. And then also just any kind of tokens. I mean, I don't personally love this, but there's a lot of book lovers that love those Funko Pops, or they just love to have like trinkets of different fandoms on their shelves, like different characters, different little dolls and things, or just the Mandalorian mask, the lightsabers, you know, there's daggers people put on display. I do like daggers, but I don't love having like little character stands. That's just not my thing. I do have one from Loki though, but I adore Loki, so everything Loki is amazing to me. But in general, you won't find a ton of those on my shelves. I'll have like little book vases and little skulls, but that's probably the most I'll do on these shelves besides books. The next thing is accessories. Now this is kind of obvious, like bookmarks and things like that. You can get, it's hard to just give a bookmark as a present, but obviously if you have like a really beautiful bookmark, that's a great present. I've received beautiful bookmarks as presents and I loved them. Something unique and like, you know, beautiful and like artistic is really fun to receive. I also really like the book light accessories, the ones where it's like a little mini lamp, and there's also the ones where it illuminates a page and it's almost like a book insert. I think that those are really cool and something that I don't have. I don't know how easy they are to use, but I see them go around in the book community and they just seem like really fun accessories to have if you physically read books. Obviously you don't need a book light if you read by a Kindle or an iPad or an audiobook, but they're really cool for people that you know are physical readers. And there are also holders. Now you have book holders, which are kind of like stands that you can put your book on and read it without having to use your hands. If your hands get tired of holding a book a certain way, or if you're reading a really massive physical book, or you just want your Kindle to stand a certain way without having to like constantly be holding it. There's also something called a page holder, which is really difficult to describe, but basically you use your fingers to hold the pages down instead of having to like use both of your hands. So if you just want to be one-handed, you can use a page holder. I got one from a book box and I got another one from my sister recently. And those are just really fun accessories to have if you like to physically read books, which I do. So I would like to find them again and put them to use because I'm reading some big books at this point in time and I'd love to kind of give a review on a book holder. So far it seems like a really great idea, and you can even get ones that are like creative and carved and make them very like customized and particular to the reader that you might gift it to. It particularly goes well if you're buying someone like a huge book and you're like, crap, this is like a huge book, and get them a book holder to kind of make their life a little easier. I think that would be a really clever way to pair those two together. And then this is the part that I said at the beginning where I'm gonna have things that are just guaranteed hits. Like obviously gift cards. Barnes & Noble gift cards, Amazon gift cards to your local shops are even better if you know that they have a favorite local shop in their area. Those are always going to be pleasers for a book person because they're going to be like, oh, awesome, extra money to go buy books. The next thing is book wish list. So a bunch of us that have a booktube or a bookstagram or a book Twitter or whatever, we all have wish lists. And we just pile our books on there, so it's easy for like international friends to send us a book and kind of make everyone's life easier. So if you know that your friend has a book list that they like to keep, especially on Amazon or Book Depository or even a local bookshop website, you can go on there and obviously just buy them a book and have it shipped to them. It's really, really easy. And most of the time they offer gift wrapping, which makes life even easier. The next thing I have, which is kind of like a hack, and I don't even know if I should mention it because it seems so obvious, but if you go on Etsy or Amazon and you look up bookish gifts, you should be able to find a bunch of stuff that I haven't even mentioned. I've seen pillows, I've seen cup holders, I've seen so many other different accessories that I don't have the time to mention right now, but that you could definitely look up. And I'll have everything that I talked about today linked down below, but that is basically the most comprehensive list of bookish gifts that I can think of, and that would give ideas for anyone that's kind of struggling picking up presents, because I know that sometimes I definitely struggle to pick up presents. So it's always good to find places where I can get some ideas from. And obviously you can also just ask your friend what they want, but sometimes people don't want to do that. So this is just another good way to give some ideas to everyone. So I don't want to forget to mention that you could just buy them a book and ask them what book they want. But if you don't want to do that, this is the video for you, and this is all the suggestions that I can think of today. So I hope that you liked this video, and if you did, you should definitely click that like button because that does help me out a lot. And if you like this content and you want to see more from me, definitely don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button.